Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
Pompey CEO Andy Cullen's been talking about Pompey's transfer budget during the upcoming window and how it compares with some of the big spenders that they're going to be sharing the league with. He says,
"The promoted teams is going to be another issue which could potentially distort the league, we understand that. Birmingham would have been really strong financially whichever league they were in last season. They blew League One away in terms of the points they achieved and they spent well. But it's not just about the level of spend you have or the highest budget, it's the way you recruit and the way you spend that money. We finished in a good position up the league. You put that into context with the teams who went down with probably far bigger resources than we had. Partly that is down to the way you are to recruit along with other factors as well. That's notwithstanding the dreadful luck we had last season with injuries. That's not just with the number of injuries but the concentration in key positions. That makes last year's achievement particularly impressive."
Yep, Pompey fans are having it drummed into us that we are not going to be spending big during this transfer window. Now, of course, that could be a ruse. It could be. It's very unlikely, but it's possible that they're saying we don't have very much money. Because if you go looking to buy a player and it's known that you've got lots of money, they're going to charge lots of money. So it could be a bargaining tool. If that's the case, that would be sweet. It would mean that we're playing the game. It's not a dark art, but we're at the poker table and we're keeping our poker face. And that would be a good thing. And we might just be looking for one or maybe even two players who've got decent price tags on them. Time will tell. But for now, the message is very consistent. We are not going to be a moneybags club, at least not in the foreseeable future. John Mousinho is offering this assessment of Mark O'Mahony's time on loan at Pompey, which is over now.
"When you strip everything back for Mark, it has been an incredibly successful loan for him personally. He's had the highs of coming in and scoring against Oxford, against Stoke, at Oxford again. The highs of starting games at championship level and performing really well. Then he's had the lows of picking up the injury against Swansea and another away on international duty. He's probably had the lows of not being in the squad towards the back end of the season as well, not quite hitting the levels that he'd hit earlier in the year. As a first loan, he's had everything, and that's really important. He has made a contribution to us staying in the league, a big contribution. He started plenty of games, he's come off the bench in plenty of games. He absolutely would have wanted to have played more."
Yeah, surely that's a very accurate assessment of Mark O'Mahony. We never found out whether it was O'Mahony or O'Mahony, but anyway, it's a fairly accurate assessment, isn't it, of his time with us. He never really managed to come close to making the number 9 shirt his own, but he was effective. Big lad, lively lad, athletic. Scored 3 goals. Well, that's 3 goals. And not everybody at his age can claim that they've played in top championship. Well, they played in major championship matches and up front and scored 3 goals. And I think John Mousinho is not being over enthusiastic about Mark. He's not gilding the lily. He's not laying it on thick. When he says it's been a successful loan period for him, we are right to assume that he is talking about as a person, in the round, the whole thing. Not just Mark O'Mahony, the centre forward, but Mark O'Mahony, the player, the team member, the squad member, and the personality, the person. Because remember, he is Irish, and he's come to this country to ply his trade and develop. He's moved along the coast to us, where he believes, John Mousinho believes, and I suspect Mark O'Mahony believes, but has certainly been persuaded, that he's come on the right amount. Not going to say he's come on in leaps and bounds and some Premier League club are going to be coming in for him. No, not yet. But he has come on the right amount. And he deserves credit for that, the lad, and Pompey deserve credit for it too. But you can also sense that John Mousinho is saying out loud, loan players, when they come to us, they have a successful time on loan to Portsmouth. You can hear that, can't you? So there's 1 or 2 or 5 Premier League, possibly, clubs and agents and heads of academy and what have you, who are, it is hoped, have heard him say those things and are able to believe him because, after all, as we said at the beginning of this piece, it's an accurate assessment. He's telling the truth. He tends to tell the truth unless he's trying to pull the wool over an opposing coach's eyes. So that will have done our recruitment of loan players no harm at all. Another feather in the cap for the Moose. Hull Live have been taking stock of where our rivals Hull City are at this moment in time, and there's a good reason why we should be monitoring. They are saying this.
The 2024-25 season was a desperately disappointing one for Hull City. A draw at Portsmouth on the final day of the campaign ensured the Tigers avoided relegation to League One. Despite steering City to Championship survival, head coach Ruben Selles was relieved of his duties after just 6 months in charge. The Spaniard replaced Tim Walter in the managerial hot seat back in December. It means the Tigers are now searching for their 5th permanent manager, since owner Akun Ilikali purchased the club in January 2022. The Turkish businessman was in London last week to step up his search for Sellers' replacement, and was joined by new head of recruitment Martin Hodge and international recruitment chief Mustafa Yokes. Sporting director Jared Dublin has also been heavily involved in the process. While City do not a playing budget the size of Leeds United or Burnley, the latest figures suggest the East Yorkshire club seriously underperformed last term. Transfermarkt have finalised a league table that compares the value of squads to their final position in the championship standings. The Tigers were second from bottom in what was a disastrous season. Their squad is valued at £56 million, and they were 11 places off where they should have been in the second tier of English football, underlining that there is plenty of room for improvement. No one can accuse Ilikali of not backing his managers in the transfer market. More than £20 million was spent last summer on bringing in players such as Liam Millar, Mohamed Baloumi, Ryan Giles, Abu Kamara, Mason Burstow, and Charlie Hughes. The club also paid transfer fees for midfielder Elliot Matazo and striker Kyle Joseph in January.
We need to keep our eyes on the situation at Hull City, not out of any sort of vicarious pleasure in seeing other clubs suffering at all, and also not because what's been going on at Hull is ammunition for people, fans, who believe that you cannot buy success. You can buy better players, but you still have to make it work. It has to be the right players, and you have to have the right blend and give them the right playing style and motivation. Those are the things that win matches and ultimately win promotions and win titles. So seeing that Hull have been splashing the cash and finishing just by the skin of their teeth out of the actual relegation zone, avoiding relegation by the skin of their teeth, that ought to be food for thought for people who think that all we need to do in order to have a dynamic season next season at Pompey, is for our owners to, as people often say, put their hands in their pockets. It's not necessary. It's not a good idea. For so many reasons, because so many clubs are in so much trouble. It's as simple as that. But the reason I think it's obvious that one should be tracking what's going on at Hull is because with them looking for their 5th manager since the owner took over just a couple of years ago, they're in a state of turmoil. And whoever the new person is will be running the rule over the entire playing staff, the whole squad. And it may be that 1 or 2 players, he feels, don't fit exactly with how he wants to play the game, and they'd rather have some money in the bank from selling that player, albeit for a little bit less than he cost. And so you know who I'm talking about, because we haven't ruled out bringing Abu Kamara back, have we? And having him causing mayhem down the right, while Josh Murphy's doing the same down the left, with Colby Bishop in the middle waiting to ping him in. That would be an absolutely ideal up-front scenario. We know that John Mousinho'S said out loud he's actively looking to increase the forward line. We know what Kamara can do. He knows the area. He knows the way from the dressing room out onto the pitch at Fratton Park. You never know. The turmoil at Hull Poor for them. Sorry, Hull fans, that's a shame. We like you. We didn't want you to go down. We were telling you that on the day of the last game. We told any Hull fan we passed and stood next to and spoke to, good luck, we don't want you to go down. And we're not wishing any hard times or unhappiness on them. But there could be something in it for us. Agreed?